No, because I promise you, I'm the wrong one to ever play that I'm not going to text first game. I will literally never speak to you again in my entire life. Never.
Someone who shares about their divorce online, I have thousands and thousands of comments and DMs from men and women who are either getting divorced or are post-divorce. And something that I think is really interesting as a pattern about the difference between men and women post-divorce is that while divorce sucks for everybody, generally, women come out of divorce and their lives are on an upswing. They're more fulfilled, they're happier, they're calmer, their homes are peaceful, they're doing things that are for them versus for someone else. And men, alternatively, go through divorce and have a much harder time. Finding fulfillment, finding satisfaction. Now, of course, these are like broad generalizations. I know there are many men who go through divorce and are happier post-divorce. But as far as their lives being easier, the trend, again, based on thousands and thousands of comments, DMs, and conversations, is that post-divorce life for women is a whole lot better than post-divorce life for men. And then you start to think, why is that? And while I know why that is for myself, I think the realization is that post-divorce, men realize how much work women were doing for them, how much thought went into making their lives easier. And once women are free from marriage and free from past their divorce, all that energy that they spend putting into supporting their man goes towards supporting themselves and making themselves fulfilled and doing things that make their own lives easier and happier and safer. So while, of course, there are wonderful men out there and there are men who come out of divorce and they are living that more fulfilled life, it's really, really hard for me to ignore that pattern.
Bill 732, which could end no-fault divorce, is a significant concern for women. Currently, no-fault divorce allows individuals to end their marriage without proving fault, such as cheating or abuse. However, if passed, people would have to prove fault, which could make it harder for women to leave an unhappy or dangerous marriage. This could be emotionally draining, expensive, and complicated.
How much did my divorce cost me? Well, this is a fantastic question. There's direct and there's indirect costs. Direct costs, I lost $106,000 out of my 401k retirement plan I spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half the equity in the home, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, and savings that I also spent 20 years contributing to. I also lost half of all the non-liquid assets like furniture, household goods, electronics, cars. Keep in mind, I paid for all of these. And this is in addition to financially supporting her and her/our daughter for 17 years, which is many hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm now broke, live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and have a negative net worth for the first time since I was, 25. Indirect costs: my job, my sobriety, my self-worth, my masculinity, my hope for the future, my ability to trust women again, my belief in God, my pride, my motivation, my physical health. I don't know, let's just say everything.
Well, it certainly didn't take long for bills impacting marriage, divorce, and annulment to start rolling in for the 2025 legislative session. So we have Texas coming in, which we know is, one of the most conservative states. One of their conservative lawmakers filed 2 bills regarding marriage, divorce, and annulment for the 2025 legislative session. This is from Lone Star Live. From that website, and it was published November 14th. So the latest, and I'm going to read it because I don't know all this stuff, but 2 pieces of legislation submitted. One is House Bill 732, which would repeal a section of the Texas Family Code that allows marriages to be annulled on the grounds of impotency. So currently it allows for an annulment specifically if either party was permanently impotent at the time of marriage, the other did not know their spouse was impotent, and they had not voluntarily cohabited since finding out. So if passed, House Bill 732 would apply only to marriage annulment requests filed on or before September 1st of 2025. So that is in process. The other bill in Texas is House Bill 931, which would make Texas one of 4 states that allow covenant marriage, and they have covenant marriage in quotes. That type of arrangement is tied to conservative Christianity and emphasizes marriage being for life. although divorce is still legally available. So some notable political figures that have entered into covenant marriages, we'll see if any of these names sound familiar to you. U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson, and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Advocates say it promotes traditional family values, which again is a phrase that was all over the original full text of the Project 2025 document, all 922 pages. And it encourages couples to solve marital problems.
The idea behind this change is to make people think more seriously before getting married or deciding to divorce. Some argue that it might prevent marriages from ending too quickly or without effort. But many women in unhealthy relationships may feel stuck. The concept of women hitting the wall is another controversial term used to describe women over 30 who lose their appeal in the dating world. If this bill passes, divorce becomes harder to get, making women even more anxious about being single or starting over.
So some critics say it makes it harder for people to flee abusive situations and represents a government endorsement of a specific form of religious, I trip over that word, specific forms of religious marriage. So under the proposed Texas state law, couples are legally required to complete at least 5 hours of premarital counseling from a clergy member or licensed marriage counselor before entering into a covenant marriage. So again, another tie back to the Project 2025 language was that there would be a lot of faith-based marital counseling and faith-based marital supports that would be focused on. So to divorce, both parties must agree to the split, as well as attend at least 5 hours of counseling from a clergy member or licensed counselor. So here's a caveat. Entering into a covenant marriage would be voluntary. And they could not be charged a fee for issuing a covenant marriage license under H. Bill 931. Non-covenant marriage participants still would be required to pay a fee unless the couple completed state-approved premarital education courses, which I would say the unspoken part there is faith-based. Again, this is from an article that was posted on LoneStarLive.com on November 14th. So very, very current. And it's already showing like legislation like this, these House bills, these things that are not necessarily stating the removal or retraction of no-fault divorce, which is a term you hear a lot. They're coming in, named a little bit different nuances and what's required, what's restricted, what's mandatory. But, as with any good contract or House bill, it's all in the fine print. So it'll be interesting to see what other states decide to start introducing legislation that impacts marriage and divorce and requirements around both of those things going into the 2025 legislative session. Follow, comment.
If no-fault divorce were to end, it could make divorce more difficult and stressful, especially for women already at a disadvantage in terms of finances or power. They might be forced to stay in unhappy marriages or face long, drawn-out legal battles that make everything worse. While some people believe ending no-fault divorce would strengthen marriages and make people more careful about divorce, for many women, it feels like a major step backward in terms of personal freedom and safety. This complex issue could have a huge impact on how people navigate their relationships and marriages in the future.
I went to divorce court today. I was very nervous, but I did well because I didn't have to talk. I only sat there. My attorney spoke for me. My soon-to-be ex-husband didn't look so well. Doesn't look well at all compared to what he normally looks. This court date was not supposed to have happened. Technically, it shouldn't have had to have happened because we should have been able to figure everything out in mediation, which was scheduled for the end of October, of which we had to cancel because he has yet to provide any financial documents. Any. He just simply doesn't provide anything. The judge got after him and told him that he needs to step up and provide financial documents. He tried to claim, well, because I'm not having an attorney, then I just didn't know. You know, he's smart. You also are literally sleeping with an attorney, mister. Come on. We're not that dumb. Unbelievable. He can play dumb all he wants, but we see through him. Note to self, don't mess around with the judicial system. If you want out of your marriage, you can do it in so many better ways than what my soon-to-be ex-husband is doing.
Ultimately, even though the change in divorce laws could be difficult for some, it could also lead to stronger relationships and better societal support for people in challenging marriages. With the right approach, we could turn this challenge into an opportunity to rethink how we view marriage, commitment, and personal growth. And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.